Hey boys and girls of the YouTube world, today the Duff Dog and I are going to see if we can't get a 1964 Oldsmobile JetStar Uno running for the first time in 40, 50,000, 100 years. If you remember, we showed a little clip of this in another video. My father and I jumped in the tow pig and we ran to the Benson, Minnesota area and we picked this thing up at an online auction. So let's drag her inside and see if we can't get it running. Duff, you ready to do this? Yeah, Red Rocket's his favorite. Well, here we are, rural Benson. Nobody knows how to drive, apparently, out here. This blue plater's got himself a new scraper. This guy's from North Dakota as well, but he's got a topper. That's a blue plater thing. He's pretty much a local now, but the old 64 Olds is right over there. I got the Red Rocket over there. The Oldsmobile. All right, there she is. Dad said it's got rust in really odd places. I agree. Right there. We're tying it down. I noticed the fuel tank's hanging down. It is a bucket seat, console shift car. It's got the rosary hanging from the mirror. And look at that back speaker deck. What do they call that?
The fuzz?
Yeah.
It used to be angel hair.
Angel hair.
They use it at car shows a lot for display.
She's rusty in the quarters. These two tires weren't turning. That right front was. I don't know if the other rear was, but there's an oil pan, so hopefully there's an engine in it because there's no picks on the inner wheel. Ouch, that was my knee. It's a hybrid, last tagged in 76. The old Red Rocket JetStar 1. Oh, we got the hubcaps on this side. Yeah, it's a pretty good car from about here up. Looks like something was sitting on the trunk. It was definitely sitting somewhere before they brought it out here. They must have just drug it out here for the sale. Well, we get the old JetStar Uno rolled into the shop here and lifted up and wheels off. See if we can get her rolling. My buddy Chris at Chris Craft was just working on one of these for a customer. They did air ride and disc brakes and all that. I think they got the disc brakes from Scarebird or are getting them or something. But he said, I bet the speedometer cable runs through the dust cap. And I said, GM wouldn't do anything so stupid as to run the speedometer through the dust cap. They've been running them off the transmission for years. And then I saw this dust cap with that little cover on there. And then I saw a brake hose, which they all got. And then I saw that second brake hose going right into the center of the spindle. And that ain't supposed to be there, Duff says. So, we're gonna be very careful taking this apart. Your worthless information for the day. 1964 Oldsmobile JetStars have the speedometer running through the driver's wheel. So, let's take that apart semi-carefully. Look at that big lip on those drums. That must be for all of the brake cooling, huh, Duffalophagus? Oh yeah, Dodge things. Pulling semis to town with a strap. You don't see that every day, do you, Duff? Nor do you see a guy with two crappy F-bodies sitting in their front yard. Anyway, get yourself one of these pliers for taking dust caps off. I haven't talked about this thing enough. These things are great. Looks like a V216 made in USA. That's something you don't ever see. Made in America tools. Let's see what we got behind door number 4. Look at that. It's got that little radio suppressor spring. Fancy dancy little hex drive that comes through the center of the spindle. So you want to disable somebody's speedometer on a JetStar, just steal their driver's dust cap. Did they do this on other vehicles, like Cadillacs and Buicks? Or is this just Oldsmobile's better idea? Your worthless information of the day. See, we're always learning around here. Now, what other kind of fun? Oh yeah, that's gonna be great, trying to pull the drum off, because our puller tool goes through the center there. Maybe that'll just push in far enough. Well, we go find out. Oh, it's got like a clip that goes around it? What is this anomaly? I'm thinking there's some kind of C-clip deal here. Hey, get your screwed by Mortske repair magnetic awesomeness screwdriver at mortske.com. What an interesting design. I bet if you needed one of those, it'd be really hard to find. Just run down to your local Oldsmobile dealer. What was the last year Oldsmobile, like 99 or 02? It's been a couple days. I used to be a big Cutlass fan in high school. I had a 90 Cutlass Supreme with a 3.1 and a 97 with a 3.1. Good little cars. 2 doors, of course, because 4 doors weren't cool back then, but they are now. We're gonna use our puller to pull this drum off, and the puller pushes on the center of the spindle, but it looks like that speedo cable pushes in far enough. I tried taking it loose on the inside. It's not gonna end well if I do it in there, so I don't want to ruin that cable, because I'm sure it's probably pretty hard to find, but hopefully it doesn't damage it. We could go in the car, crawl underneath the dash, unhook it up there, and then just slide the insert, the drive, whatever it's called, out. But this car reeks inside, and I don't want to lay under the dash. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. No, oh, look at that. Instead of hooking on this pivot here, there's this cute little mounting tab they hook on. Doesn't have ball bearings, so that's good. Standard style needle bearings, self-adjusting, all the good stuff. All right, we just got to do 2 more wheels. Well, put this one back together first. Throw all this stuff in a bucket for use at a later time. This clip instead of the cotter key is actually quite ingenious. This little tanger there lines up in the flat spot that you line up your washer. There's a hole in the castle nut. Drop that through, clip that over the edge. That thing's pretty swanky. I approve. Make sure we get our shank lined up. We gotta do spit on it? Come on now. There we go. Oh, she spins free as a bird now. That's a hard dust cap to find. Go to your local O'Reilly, see if they got a dust cap for the left front of a 64 Olds JetStar. Seems to be hanging up on the center of the hub, so we're gonna give her a little heat. A little heat goes a long ways. Get your a little heat goes a long ways decal at mortske.com. Duff, you're gonna want to step back. There. Now we're cooking with gas.
We're cooking with gas.
Oh man, there's some tension on that. All right, now let's take these guts out of there. That's why it's hanging up on the top, because it pulls loose on the bottom pretty easy, but it's caught on this stud up here. Pretty common when we get these stuck brakes. We'll put this in the bucket with our other stuff. Oh, park brake cable. Should we cut it? Or can we unhook it easy? Look at this. We'll even try to unhook it the right way. Like I know how to do that. Come on now. There we go. All right, that one got deformed in the middle a little bit, but you could probably doctor it up, and I'm guessing you could make something work off of like a 71 to 76 GM car. I don't know why they got this great big fin on there. It seems like a lot of wasted space and money and everything else, but maybe they cooled better. Maybe Oldsmobile had the better idea there. Anyway, let's get that other one turning so we can roll this thing around. Worst case scenario, we just kick it right out of the shop and never think about it again. I'm falling out of love with this Oldsmobile real quick. Get out of here, fly. That's like, oh my gosh, that's like a 40-pound hubcap right there. Then they got these rubber or plastic inserts in the wheel. Rubber? What's that all about? Keeps dust out of the hubcap? Premium traction, HP G7014. Nothing but the finest. All right, right-hand thread, should be good to go. All right, we got the scrap guys all unloaded. We got a 56 Ford Victoria, an 82 Ford F100, F150, whatever, two-wheel drive, short bed, and a 76 Ford F150, it says, two-wheel drive, long box. Both pickups are 6-cylinder 4-speeds on the floor. The Victoria has no engine or transmission. I'm trying to make them all roll. I got all the wheels and tires on the 76, and what was it? Only one was on it, holding air. The back two were missing. We had one go flat on the 82, so I put a tube in that because I like my stuff. It sits so much nicer with wheels on them. It's easier to move them around. They look better, so just throw tubes in everything. Find a bunch of tires if you can. 14-inch tires are like freaking gold. I think I'm down to 3. I think I've been down to 3 for quite a while, but we got her patched together. Old DB got me again. Working on this wheel. It's 4.5-inch. Got her all patched up, put her on here. 4 3/4. Old DB strikes again. So here it is. I got that wheel on tire. I got the one on the opposite side of the front. This side, these 3, oh yeah, there it is. The studs are spinning. So I think what we're gonna do is take the dust cap off and try to pull this turning so the whole brake drum should come off. And then we could weld the studs on the backside so they don't spin, get the lug nuts off, put a tire on it that holds air. But wait, there's more. This rear wheel, I don't know, something's screwed up on the leaf spring. It sits really cool and low like I like. But I can't get a gosh dang tire up in there. And the rear end doesn't turn because it's sat in the dirt forever. Somebody took the drive shaft out of it. Oh, that was recent. The cardboard on the inside of the drive shaft isn't even deteriorated, and the marks still look fresh. So somebody wanted, I think it's a 3-speed car. Should have been a Y block of sorts, my favorite. But anyway, I know I'm kind of picking up on the leaf spring, but even when you're not picking up on the leaf spring, it's doing this. So I got to figure out how to pry this rear end back into place so we can get a tire on it, or we could put a donut on it, I guess, worst case scenario, but I really don't want to do that because donuts look silly and we're trying to make it look good. And unfortunately, I'm falling in love with this thing. So. Great, grand, wonderful.
Good, great, grand, wonderful.
All right, let's get this hub off and get a wheel on the front. There's Bob, just out doing Bob things. All right, ready to slam this thing back together. Look at this though, factory ram assist power steering. It's gotta be pretty rare for 56, don't you think, Duff? Old Mojo showed up and I told him the debacle on the rear end. He said, you don't suppose that shock collapsed and is rusted, holding it in place. I don't know. I guess we're gonna get the torch out and we're gonna cut a shock and see if that holds, releases the rear end. Oh, Mojo, he's witty. I guess that's what happens when you've been doing this for 60 freaking years. Look at that Jim, 814 Atlas grip safe with the white wall. This is a, I don't know, it's not really a reverse, but it's got a deep offset on it. You gotta dismount it, put the tube in from the back side. These are pretty cool wheels. The tire looks good. I should have 3 more of these on here. Really class this old Vicky up. That Mojo, he is a pretty smart guy. You got a gold star for the day.
How's that?
I cut that shock and boom, rear end dropped right down.
You wouldn't think they would do that.
First time I seen it.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Torquing some main caps on a small block Chevy?
Small block Chevy. Look at that.
It still turns. What a deal.
Still turns. I got one left to torque down here. We got 2000s clearance.
Is that good or bad?
That's good.
All right. Keep it up. I'll go do the easy work.
Thanks.
We may as well lift this thing up, see what the bottom side looks like since we got the old telehandler underneath it, eh?
I need help with the car.
Oh, I see. Yeah, looks like you got some water leakage. You might need a hose, eh?
Jose, Roberto, whatever. If you got some Latinos up here that can fix cars, that'd be great.
Let's see what the bottom of Vicky looks like here. At least when they pulled the engine, they took the connectors loose. Looks like they just cut the power steering hoses though. No power brakes. I'm guessing that was an option then. Yeah, so apparently this control arm broke at one point. Somebody welded her back together. That might have been the demise of this car. Oh yeah, yeah. Somebody got into a pretty nasty wreck. And this has all been patched up. You can see the frame's tore there, that weld's busted there. Busted there right below the core support. I don't know why they didn't find a new control arm when they fixed all that, but maybe they did her at the farm. Would have been a pretty new car. Because what was the plates? 65, and this is a 56, so a 9-year-old car. And I got to thinking, I bet they just slid the transmission and drive right out of the drive shaft, and I bet the scrap guys couldn't get it on their trailer, so they, because the drive shaft was digging into their trailer, so they cut it off, I bet. Yeah, not a 9-inch. 9-inch didn't come out until next year, 1957. Fuel tank is rotted out, of course. Looks like it was a dual exhaust car. Probably had a 292 or a 312Y block in it. I think it had a clutch pedal, so I'm guessing it was a 3-speed on the tree. But you could get an automatic in these as well. Lower quarters are rusty, but the floors are all there, it looks like. Looks like that support got banged. Oh man, this thing had a rough life. She was jumping a lot of rock piles. Oh, she's a little rusty up here when the carpet's hanging out the bottom. Oh yeah, a little rust in the toe boards, a little rust in the dog leg, some more rust in the rocker, but we're all not bad. These were stylish cars in their day. It's got the heat deflectors on both sides for the dual exhaust. Oh yeah, some more rust there. Yep. It was an automatic car. There's only one shift linkage coming off the steering column. Super cool cars. Give me a 56 Ford Crown Victoria over a 56 Chevrolet any day. But I only got one of each. Although I prefer a 55 Ford over a 56 Ford. Same with Chevys. 55 was a better year in my opinion. Even the 55 Plymouths, good cars. All right, I think we're gonna kick this one back into the lineup. But here's what I was thinking in my seeing that frame and that control arm makes me think this even more. What if we took the snutch rocket, cut like the stub off, welded it on there since that's all screwed up. Then we get power steering and we get disc brakes. And we put the 9-inch in the back because we know that rear end's shot. And then we put the 302 automatic, everything right in there. Have ourselves a budget-friendly 56, and the snitch rocket is just kind of sitting there rotting away, unfortunately, because what do you do with something like that? You can't really drive it up and down the street. It's not really good for anything other than what we do with it. Letting it sit, whipping donuts in the yard, maybe driving a parade or something. But anywho, comment down below if you want to see us take the old snitch rocket remnants, put in there, gets this back on the road, clears up a stall with the snitch rocket. I think we could get a long ways in a weekend. And then find a windshield, and I think the trim is in there, and the headlights, round rings, find all the lights and stuff that we're missing. If this is a 4-door, I wouldn't have even looked at twice at this car, but I'm like, man, that's a Victoria, it ain't so bad. Yeah, we'll put the telehandler forks in there and jack the roof up. It'd be really rough, kind of like the old bubble top out here, but it's 56 Victoria. Pretty cool car. We'll see. Couldn't pass it up. I couldn't let it go to scrap. And if you need this thing, hit us up, mortskerepair@gmail.com. I don't know. It's not worth a ton of money, but it's worth something. Right, Duff? He says get back to work. Now that the old red rocket's a roller, let's get a better look at this thing. I'm guessing that was the auction number. Lot number? Yeah. Like I said, these cars came factory, all the JetStars came factory with bucket seats, consoles, all that good stuff. Got a rosary hanging from the mirror there. Got the angel hair in the back window. So yeah, a lot of sinning went on back there. And repentance up there. There wasn't any pictures of this car on the inside, just through the window, and I could see why. That seat is held in by Bluetooth. Look at that. Oh my word. Well, these came with a fresh new, well, oh, never mind. Yeah, so they said this thing sat in a building. I'm guessing it was a pretty terrible roof on the building. The mice got in the old headliner, per usual. Little switch here, it must be for the dome light in the back? I don't know. Looks like there's a hole in the floor by the rear seat. Oh yeah. I'm not real hopeful on this one. When I hooked the chain up back there, the fuel tank was hooking on the chain, so yeah. Fuel tank has dropped out. Let's see what's going on in the trunk. Opens nice. Looks like we got 2 of the factory wheels. Great. Valve covers and rocker shafts. Hopefully they're not for this car. Those definitely look like Oldsmobile valve covers. Yep. Hey, it's got a Rochester carburetor kit though, so we can rebuild that. Oh no. A bunch of old spark plugs. So I'm guessing somebody was into this engine before we got it. There's the exhaust, mud flap, bumper jack, the factory hubcaps. Those look like they were removed pretty freshly, so I'm guessing they put these tires on just to roll it for the auction. What is that? Oh, kind of like a bumper jack, maybe? I don't know. Sure looks like some type of jacking mechanism. Doesn't have much of a footprint, so you probably want to set it on a block. Yeah, the top half of the car is really, really good. The bottom half, no bueno. Like my dad said, it's rusty in some really weird spots. Glass is good though. Duff's not around to open the hood. I don't know, he's out napping in the sun, enjoying the dog days of fall. We got 2 the original T3 headlights. Last tagged in 76. So this car was only 12 years old and they parked it. All right, let's get this hood open. Oh boy, I don't know what to tell you. Looks like they got an inline oil filter of sorts. Looks like there was a blue tarp on it. Plugs are all out. Rocker shaft is in place yet over here. Got the Starfire air cleaner on it. Oh. See if the carburetor's loose. It does have a 4-barrel though. These should either be a 330 or a 394. Maybe with the 4-barrel, she's the bigger 394. Oof. Again, rust on this top lip of the fender. That's kind of strange. It is a factory power steering, factory power brake car. Man. Yeah, this is the rocker shaft they took off. It looks like it's all there though, but you wonder why they removed that stuff. It doesn't have the Ram assist power steering, it's actual power steering sector. My station wagon, my 64 Impala's got Ram assist steering, so a little bit different. Definitely entirely different control arms. That's what my buddy Chris at Chris Craft said when they were lowering that one with air ride. It was all nothing the same as Impala. He said it's actually pretty similar to like a Cadillac. I don't know, what do you call it, a B-body or whatever it was, but yeah. Fan appears to be missing. Radiator's there, flexi hose. That's clearly why this thing went to pot, because they put this guy on there. And seized. Oofta. I don't know what to tell you kids. I can tell you this. Definitely go look at a car before you buy it on an online auction. Or ask for some pictures underneath the hood if you're going to try to do a will it run. I would not have bought this car if I had seen it in person. Because right now it looks like we're just getting ourselves some bucket seats and a center console. And I'm guessing the center console is different than an Impala. I know it is. And hopefully the seats are the same, because there'll be some market there at least if they're the same as like a Pontiac. You know, if somebody wants them in a GTO, 64 GTO, or a Impala. Yeah, because this car is not worth pulling an engine or swapping an engine or LS swapping or rebuilding it, because the body is, she's toasty. This, unfortunately, is a parts car. Unless this was your grandfather's car that bought it brand new, and then you can go ahead and fix it, but I'm not gonna. So, I wonder if we can even get a bar on that flex plate. I'm guessing what happened is this thing sat, it probably ran when it was parked. Somebody parked it. It sat for a few years. Somebody got ambitious, was going to get it going, and it was stuck. And so they pulled the spark plugs out, probably put some oil in there, and then they started pulling the valve covers and this rocker shaft, and that's where they stopped. That might be where I'm gonna stop too. I'm gonna sit down, have a beverage, think about my life decisions, and figure out what we're gonna do next. Took the old bone creeper, slid underneath, and there's definitely no inspection cover, so we can't put a bar on the flex plate. I did notice the battery tray should be there. She gone. It's flannel season, by the way. You can see my breath this morning. Look at that. It's got the old OptiClean bottle. So, I mean, we're winning there. No coolant. Cap wasn't even tight. How about the dipstick, Jimmy? Dipstick! Please be promising. Ooh, there's some liquid on the bottom. You could see just how this thing was stored, like all the humidity even rusted out the dipstick tube here, so not looking good. Great. Real excited. You should see the bottom of the side of this car. We're gonna take the Bobcat and try to spin her around, put her on the lift here and lift it up, and hopefully it doesn't fold in half. This thing is so bad. I really wish I had stayed off the internet that night. Oh well, got a story to tell. Got to go on a road trip with my old man. So there's that. And a life lesson was learned. We knew this a long time ago. Stop buying junk. And we've been catching a few mice in the shop, so I'm sure it has nothing to do with this car. It's bad, isn't it, Duff? Let's get her up in the air, see just how bad it is. First thing first, let's get rid of this fuel tank so I don't have to skid it around anymore. Hope this thing doesn't fall in half on my head.
A strike to claim it, and he got it!
Please be a posse. It is. Well, we got that going for us anyway. What a piece of crap, Mortske. Come look at this thing. If both tires turn the same way, that means it's a posse, right?
Yeah.
Or the rear end's just that rusty that they don't turn. They don't do pinion things. Well, there's one tailpipe. Looks like it was a factory dual exhaust car. Yeah, it's got the big 9.3 inch differential. Buick Olds Pontiac had this. It's different than the Chevrolets significantly. I got these great big fins on here. And that's how you tell the difference. Their dropout center section, 58 to 64 GM, well, 55 to 64 GMs all were similar to what a Ford 9-inch would have. Coil spring car. See, like a 64 Chevy would have an X-frame. These actually have a perimeter frame. So they don't really share anything. These are 5-on-5 bolt pattern. Chevrolets are 4 3/4. Look at this. I had to find a good spot to lift. So I picked these, I don't know, torque boxes, is that what they're called? Assuming that they were the most solid component. The transmission just kind of hangs out there in the open, it looks like. There's our shift linkage for the floor shift. Usually there would be a transmission mount on the rear. There's not on this one. They just mount at the bell housing. Is that a Kmart oil filter? I don't know what it is. Oh, the oil pan is just absolutely annihilated. This is all carpet. Here's the floor supports. There's the other one. This one's just hanging out here. Again, all carpet. I mean, this is there, but it's really just held together by the undercoating. Good news is park brake cables have already been cut, so we don't have to do that. I'm guessing somebody did those when they were trying to get the thing to move and the brakes were locked up. I thought that would fix it. Well, it didn't. More carpet. Yeah, when you can inspect the bottom side of the carpet, probably avoid that car. Passenger floor pan is significantly better, but still absolutely horrendous. That's an undercoating that's coming loose, but you can see that floor is shot. I think this is a Hydromatic transmission. Who knows? Look at that. They even have the spot for the speedo cable, but they don't utilize it. They just have a blank plug in there. Such a weird car, Oldsmobile. Again, I lifted on the crush boxes, or I don't know, I call them crush boxes because derby car things, but that looked like the most solid spot. Puddin's been here. It's got the dimple dies in there. Real good. There's right off the manifold, the heat riser flapper dealio thinger mo bopper. Yep. I guess we could spin the tire real fast and see if the speedo works. That spindle's even got a hole in it for the speedo. You could have dual speedos. Got a little rope holding the transmission lines up. Cowboy things. Looks like there's a, oh, that's where they use the heater hose, and then they had an inline block heater, engine heater, whatever you want to call it. The Super Lawn by Firestones. Real good. It's got a big factory sway bar though. Even the washers on the control arm are like rusted and cracked out. This one's completely gone. The washer is, and the bushing is pushing out. So she needs a full suspension rebuild. We don't need that where we're going. We'll just file that away with fuel tank. We probably got a good fuel cap out of this. Oh, you got to run premium in this hot rod. It's a very important cap. We'll keep that. It's red to match the car at least. I guess we got a full set of hubcaps too. So yeah, seats and a posi. That's about it. What a great purchase, Mortske. You're so wise in your online endeavors. Yeah, look at that. You spin the drive shaft and the wheels both spin the same direction. Look at that. The whole floor is sitting on the drive shaft. See the floor move up and down when I turn the drive shaft? Just frickin', oh my. Wow. Now I'm not a fan of chassis swaps, like taking a Crown Vic or a Buick Roadmaster. But if you had a Buick Roadmaster and you just cut it off the rocker panels, you could set this body on there. And that might be an option for this. But I'm not a fan of those. Maybe someday we'll make a video of why I don't like chassis swaps. But anywho, let's pull that rear end out and see if it's an actual posi. And if it is, we're gonna take that out of there because we're not gonna get this car running. I'm not even gonna attempt to. Oh, there is an inspection cover right here. But with the way the oil looks, the way the oil pan looks, oh, the starter is even on there. I don't have any 330 or 394 Olds parts. So if we're missing anything, that thing's been exposed to the elements. And even if we got this thing running, I can't sit in there. I'm gonna fall right through the floorboard. I'd be sitting on the drive shaft, and you don't wanna be sitting on a chunk of 2.5 inch rotating steel. I mean, maybe you're into that, hey, but I am not. So let's pull out a center section and see how that looks. Hopefully that's real good. Man, they even got retainers for the hardware on the U-bolt. This was some high-end stuff for 1964. I've never seen this on a Chevrolet. All right, let's get the U-bolts out. Drive shaft's out. Now you can't just drop that center section out because the axles slide into it. So we gotta slide the axles out in order to do that. There's these 4 bolts on this retainer. So we got to take those 4 bolts out on each side, slide our axles out, and then we can take these perimeter bolts out of our pumpkin, our chunk, our differential, our center section, whatever you want to call it, and drop her out the middle. I called Uncle Terry.
Bagel Terry, put it in reverse, Terry. Put it in reverse. Oh, Lord.
And he said, look at about 7 o'clock position. I said, okay. And there's the number 8 stamped right there. And that means this should be a 342 gear ratio. He said there's no stamping to tell if it's a limited slip or not. But so 342 should be a pretty good ratio. We're just gonna pull it out and see if it is in fact a limited slip. Or posi, whatever you want to call it. I'll make sure you got your drain pan ready before you start taking these bolts out. Sometimes when you start pulling the bottom one out, it'll start leaking right away, but this one was sealed up yet. Good news is it's got oil in it, but not water. Still spins good. We'll get her out on the floor and we'll verify if it's in fact a limited slip and a 342. Stinky gear lube, just the way we like. Well, I think the disappointment continues over here with the Red Rocket. Yeah, that just looks like an open center section. What do you think, Mojo? I don't think that's a limited slip. I think our spider gears were just rusty enough. What do you think?
Yep.
Definitely an open.
Yep.
God dang it. Went through all that work for nothing. I don't know how many rear ends I've had apart, and I've never had one that...
You did?
Yeah. Just rusty enough in there to not turn. Well, now, let's verify the gear ratio. Ugh. How are we gonna do that? All right. Can you turn that pinion? Until we can see the gears here, or the numbers. Hold on, yep. 41 divided by 12. What's that, 342? Watch your fingers, I'm dropping it. Okay. I'll probably wrecked our cart. Well, 12 goes into 36 3 times, and then we got 5 left, so 50 times 4 is 48 minus 2, 341 and change. So yep, 342. You never were any good at math, huh?
No.
42 divided by 12. Didn't the teacher tell you you'd have a calculator in your pocket every day?
Yeah.
350s. No, 41 divided by 12. 3.416. 342s. Terrence was correct. Other than we don't have a limited slip. Because there should be some springs or some clutches or something going on in there. We could give it the old Lincoln locker and burn her in there with the wire feed and fix that. You ain't never done that before, have you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but what I like to do is lay a piece of rod in there,
Yep.
and then that locks against it here, and then, but you do it on this one, on the spiders.
Yep. That way if you break an axle, you can still get the pin out.
You still get the pin
I've seen
out.
some guys lay a flat strap in there,
Yeah.
and then they'll burn it all together. And then you can still get the pin out, but you can't get the clip out.
Okay, I've seen them burn it all together too. And,
Then when you break it, you really got a mess.
yeah.
I think we're gonna set this 342 aside, just hang on to it for a rainy day. That's a pretty good gear. A lot of these automatic cars have like a 270 or 262 because most of these cars come with like 3 and 4 speed automatics, so they get out of the hole really well with the gearing in the transmission, so they could have a shorter leg gear for better economy and cruising down the road and stuff like that. So that's a pretty good gear to hang on to right there, although it is not a posi, but we do have a limited slip differential that we got at the Jerry Quam estate that we could probably rebuild that, drop that in this center section, or maybe use these gears, stuff like that. So let's slide this thing back together so it rolls, and then just probably just kick it out the door. Yeah, we'll think about it when we put our axles in there. That's the beauty of these rear ends. You can slide the axle shafts back in, put those 4 bolts in, put your wheels back on, and it'll roll just fine. You don't need the center section in there. Your worthless information of the day. Way more than you want to know about rear ends, and not these rear ends. Well, guys, I pushed the Oldsmobile outside. The old red rocket just isn't going to do it for us. The way that engine's been sitting apart and the lack of 394 parts that I have around, it's just not going to happen. And if I did get it running, there's no floor pans, nowhere to sit. The frame is so rusty, it's pretty unsafe. I don't have a title for it, so I can't legally put it on the road, and the exhaust is gone, all that. So I got the rear end out. I'll put that in my stash. But if you want to own this car, price and availability in the description down below. Again, no title. You need to come pick it up. We don't deliver. We don't offer shipping. We're not going to get it restored for you. So it's kind of all on you. But it is a pretty good car. It's not. It's really a terrible car. If you had a solid one of these and you needed a parts car, like for this interior or trim or whatever, it'd be a great car. Or if you wanted to do, like I said, like a Buick Roadmaster, chassis swap, body swap, and save the floors out of that car, huge undertaking, not my type of deal. I don't really approve of them, but this would be a very good candidate for doing that. The only way that this car could ever be restored is if your grandfather owned this car brand new and you absolutely had to have it fixed up. Other than that, it's not going to be a high dollar car when it's done. Hard to get parts for. I doubt you can get like quarter panels and floors and stuff like that, but I never really looked into it. There's just a lot of weird Oldsmobile stuff about this car that you can get a lot of parts for a GM or a Ford or a Chrysler, but this Oldsmobile, not so much. So we decided to just cut our losses. Yes, we could have probably got this thing running. We could have blown it all apart, cleaned up the rings, cleaned up the cylinders, bored it out, done whatever had to be done. But at the end of the day, time and money and what we want to have. I don't want to have a 64 Olds JetStar. I mean, I do, but not that bad. I don't want it that bad. So somebody come buy this thing so that we don't have to leave it here in Skid Row with this F4 and F250 and what's that thing? 54 Ford Cab-Over that can't get away. Giveaway and the tow truck. I think we're just going to have to do a will it run on that silly tow truck because everybody's like, hey, what's the story on that tow truck? I told you the story. That's all I know. I picked it up. I brought it home. There it sits. It's got a diesel. It's 4-wheel drive. Can I drive it home? No. Where are you located? Southeast North Dakota. Same spot I've always been. Do you know any shipping companies? No. How much does it cost to ship it? I don't know. I'm not a shipping company. But anyway, we're getting off topic here. So stay tuned. We'll probably do a K30 square body Chevy tow truck. Will it run soon? And we'll probably do a Buick Riviera and maybe even a 55 Chevy and whatever else we got in Skid Row over here. So thank you very much for watching. Check out our merch at mortske.com. We just got a brand new set of sweet lowlife banners in. Hats are dwindling down. Shirts are dwindling down. We got new shirts on order. So a lot of great stuff. Thank you to everybody who has purchased from us and supported us and everything else, supports us on the donations through the YouTube thinger. I forget what they're called. Giveaways, shout out, something or other. Battery sponsors, thanks to all you folks. It's really awesome because we got to have batteries when the engines turn over. And the Patreon folks. So I'm really appreciative for all of you. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, it doesn't matter how you get it done, even if you don't get it done, as long as you're having fun. Worst case scenario, we got that rear end and we got some bucket seats that we could put in like a 55 Chevy straight axle gasser. Or we could buy another 63 Chevy Impala and make it a super sport. That's coffee, don't worry. On to the next one. And then it's got that fandy